don't hate it. So Lil Pump has finally dropped Harverd Dropout. This has been a long-awaited album that probably should have come last year, really. I feel like this has been talked about for so long and it got pushed back like 3 or 4 times. The guy broke out in 2017 with his Lil Pump album, which had huge hits on there, and surprisingly a decent reception from certain critics that ended up becoming a meme. Certainly wasn't a good album. I don't think I'm surprised people came out of that thinking it was good when every track had the same formula, a banging beat, a phrase or a single word that was repeated about 60 or 70 times throughout the song, and that's not even an exaggeration. Duos, 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 Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci. It was painful, and I came out the album thinking he had potential though. I just thought all he needed to do was fix his hooks, and if he could come out with some decent choruses, those tracks would have been good because the beats were hard and banging and fire. And yeah, I feel like he's done that on this album. I'm really surprised to see people calling this like awful and terrible. Aside from probably quite a few tracks on here, I'm really struggling to see what's so bad about this. The album starts off with Dropout, which is so tongue-in-cheek that I don't have the energy to take seriously. It's just so stupid. Lil Pump has a decent sense of humour, I've got to say, and the whole like, now I'm richer than your mum after I dropped out of college, it got me. Then right at the end of the track, he has the audacity to tell kids to stay in school. Look, the guy, he's just playing around. It's not really anything to be taken seriously. It's just a stupid banging song with bad lyrics, obviously, but you know, this genre has been pretty consistently weak in the lyrical department for the entire decade, so I don't really know what else you expect from a guy like Lil Pump. The bangers keep coming from there, honestly. I would say that I Love It slows down the album pretty early on because I've never really liked that song. The issue with that song for me has always been that there seems to be some kind of joke, but there isn't really like a punchline. Now for me, it's kind of similar to Freaky Friday. Now I'm not comparing the quality of the songs here, because Freaky Friday was one of the worst songs that I think I've ever heard, but they're similar in that there's a joke, and yet there isn't a joke. Like, I don't get what's funny? I mean, I Love It had a pretty memey video to come along with it, but without the video, I don't get what's so funny about the song. So maybe I'm old. I don't think I'm old, but maybe I am old, who knows. Yeah, Kanye really is underwhelming on that track, and that's one of the issues with this entire album, I think. All the features are wasted. Like, what's the point of these features? Apart from one which I'll get to, but yeah, every track that has a feature on it, you could just throw away the feature because they just don't need to be there. Lil Pump, a man who's not known for his lyrical ability or rapping technicality, is somehow out-rapping every feature on this album, and these are big names that he's featuring here. We've got Quavo, we've got Offset, we've got YG, all of them nowhere near as good as Lil Pump. Smoke Perp and Lil Uzi Vert, look, if you can remember their verses, that's good for you, because I friggin' cannot remember a single thing they said on their tracks. Like, they were just so pointless. You just throw them away and you wouldn't even know. So yeah, the features really heavily dragged this album down for me. Quavo kind of is out of place on his track. I mean, the hook is ridiculous and catchy as hell, and I just feel like his verse when it comes in doesn't match the track at all. Off-white, all-red, off-white, all-red. It's stupid, it's terrible, but it works because it doesn't go on for way too long like it used to on his older mixtape album thing, and it's just catchy. Like, I just don't really have an issue with this because it just sounds decent. Sure, he throws in some terrible lyrics every so often. There was that line about Fortnite at one point, but at least the songs sound decent. They're produced well. They hit hard. They're banging. Racks on racks. What a friggin' great beat this is. Yeah, sure. Again, no lyrical qualities about this album whatsoever, but it sounds catchy as hell, and he sounds great on the song. Be Like Me as well. I really like this track. I think it's a great song, genuinely a great song. And Lil Wayne comes through. He's the best feature on the whole album for me. I think he comes through with a good verse. He sounds great on the song. The chorus again, catchy as hell. I just don't think it's meant to be taken seriously. I don't really think he really believes what he's saying. He's just throwing in brag bars and stuff like that just to kind of, I guess, fill up space, to be honest, make something that's not really too serious or whatever. And he sounds really cartoonish and animated on the verses on this track too. Actually reminded me of like old Eminem. I don't think people will agree with that, but I don't know, there's something about the way he's like throwing in his lines in that voice that he's doing just reminds you of when Eminem was doing that on his older work. A weird comparison, but it was something I picked up anyway. So yeah, there's pretty much like a solid set of bangers like scattered around in this album. It's a real shame that so many tracks though really just sound terrible. I mean, I've already mentioned the YG verse, but that entire song is just awful for me. YG's line about how he likes his vaginas is yeah, we should just probably accept that YG's terrible now. Maybe Still Brazy was never that great. Who knows? But look, it was a fluke album, and everything he's done since, no. Tracks like Multimillionaire as well. I already mentioned the Lil Uzi Vert feature that just does nothing. But the chorus on this one, this is where I can totally understand how people can not really stomach some of these tracks, because this chorus, it sounds awful. Like, it sounds awful, and it's not even fun to listen to either. Similarly with the track Who Dat that closes off the album, it's not really annoying, but it just doesn't really do anything. Like, it's just a really low-key banger, but doesn't really hit hard. There's no Lil Pump isms that come through that make it kind of fun to listen to. It's just really bland, to be honest. Drug Addicts, again, kind of just whatever. Lyrically, not really feeling this one. Again, it's just like not really hitting that like sweet spot of like, these lyrics shouldn't be taken seriously, and also the track is really fun to listen to. He really needs to nail that. Like, he needs to hit that point for these songs to be good, and sometimes they're just like so off to the left that they're just missing that mark completely. That's kind of the issue with his style overall though. It's very temperamental. It can easily go from fun to the terrible just like that, just by him not hitting that sweet spot. That's why I probably can't really go as far as saying this is a good album, because it just really misses the mark on quite a few tracks that I feel as though I probably have no interest in ever listening to ever again, really. And I think I should just leave it there, really. I have not really much else to say. There's either hilarious, fun bangers that I just would listen to at any time, with tracks like Be Like Me or Rags on Rags, or even a few of the others too that I have no... I guess I should just leave it at that, really. There's not really much else to be said. A lot of fun tracks here that I would easily return to throughout the year, no issues. Be Like Me, Rags on Rags, a few others as well, genuinely good songs that I would play at any time. I guess it's really just too hit and miss throughout. But I will absolutely take something like this over the new Offset album though. This is like a mini review within a review here, but that album was painful to sit through because every track pretty much sounded the same. There weren't any fun moments, there wasn't anything that popped out that made me go, oh, this is kind of cool. It's just such like a mid-tempo trap sound that is so boring. And at least Lil Pump has the self-awareness to just, you know, go all out and have a bit of fun, just not really be too serious about it, and it works well for him, whereas Offset's just sounding friggin' worn out at this point. It sounds like he's bored of doing it. So I at least respect that there are some fun artists out here that are willing to just make banging tracks for the sake of it. But overall, I think fairly to score this, a 5.5 is the best I can go for. Could have been a 6, but some tracks really just drag this down completely and are unbearable to listen to. But yeah, certainly not as bad as people have made it out to be. I've got to give it that. Let me know your thoughts on this though. I hope you enjoyed my review. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell me your favourite track. Tell me if you hate this. Goodbye. Bye.